Have you ever wondered why people who used to be close slowly drift away, no longer wanting to be around you? There are things we do every day without realizing it. Habits that quietly take shape with time. No one points them out. No one complains. But little by little, they make others take a step back. Not because they don't love us anymore, but because being around us doesn't feel easy anymore. Growing old is a journey. But to avoid becoming lonely, we must be brave enough to reflect on ourselves. In this video, we'll go through 13 common habits in older adults. Small things that might slowly push others away. Take a moment, breathe deeply, and gently ask yourself, do any of these live within me? Where are you watching this from? Let us know your city or country in the comments. We read and appreciate everyone. If this message feels meaningful to you, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any more videos like this. And now, let's begin with the very first habit. One many of us have had, but few are willing to admit. Habit number 1, constant complaining. Here's a simple truth. Life gets harder as we age. The knees ache, prices rise. The world spins faster than we can keep up. But if every conversation turns into a list of complaints, people will eventually pull away. Imagine calling an old friend, and each time, she only talks about loud neighbors, bland food, or the government. The first time, you listen with patience. The second time, you try to understand. By the third time, you may avoid calling back. That's what happened to Frank, 76. He thought he was just being honest. But to those around him, it felt like every visit became emotionally draining. It's human to vent. But when negativity becomes the default, it slowly empties the room of warmth. Instead of only pointing out what's wrong, try sharing one small joy. A sunrise outside the window. A song you recently remembered. It changes the energy immediately. If you've ever known someone like this, comment the number 1 below. And if you see yourself in this habit now and then, don't worry. Let's move on to the next one. Just as common, just as important. Habit number 2, talking only about illnesses. None of us are strangers to pain as we get older. An aching back, blood pressure that fluctuates, joints that resist movement. And yes, it's perfectly okay to talk about our health. But when every visit becomes a medical update, the people we love start feeling like they're in a clinic, not at home. Linda's daughter used to enjoy weekend visits. But over time, every moment with her mother was filled with talk of medications, test results, and symptoms. Eventually, she stopped coming as often, not because she didn't care, but because every visit felt heavy. Your health matters, but you are more than your diagnoses. Your family wants to hear about the book you just read, the news you're thinking about, or the show that made you laugh. They want to see that you're still living, not just managing illness. If you agree that health shouldn't be the only topic, comment the number 2 below. And now, let's move to the next habit. One that often hides behind the words, "I'm just trying to help." Habit number 3, being too opinionated. You've lived through wars, hardships, love, and loss. Your experiences matter, and so do your opinions. But when every conversation becomes a lesson, and every disagreement feels like a battle to win, people start to pull away. Gerald, 74, used to think he was just offering helpful advice. But each time his daughter mentioned something about raising her kids, he would correct her. "That's not how we used to do it. You're doing it wrong." She eventually stopped sharing altogether, not because she didn't love him, but because it felt more like judgment than support. Conversations aren't meant to be competitions. Sometimes, all someone needs to hear is, "I see how hard you're trying." That one sentence can build more trust than a long list of corrections. Listening with an open heart brings you closer to your loved ones, far more than always needing to be right. If you've ever felt judged instead of heard, comment the number 3 below. And now, let's talk about a habit that's rarely discussed, but deeply affects how people feel in your presence. Habit number 4, neglecting personal hygiene. This is a sensitive topic, but it's real. As we age, energy fades, motivation slips. The routine of grooming, dressing well, or even brushing our hair can feel exhausting. But personal hygiene is not just about being clean. It's about dignity. It's about showing yourself and others that you still care. Caroline was a full-time caregiver for her aging father. She remembered how he used to dress sharp every day: cologne, a pressed shirt, shined shoes. But slowly, he stopped. He wore the same clothes, skipped showers, and didn't brush his teeth. The house smelled stale. She still loved him, but being close became harder. A simple shower, clean clothes, a comb through your hair. These small acts speak loudly. They say, "I respect myself, and I want to be present." This isn't about vanity. It's about connection. If you believe that taking care of yourself shows self-respect, comment the number 4 below. Next, we'll move into something that lives inside many of us. A beautiful thing, memories. But sometimes we get stuck there. Habit number 5, living in the past. Memories are a gift. Telling the story of how you met your spouse. Recalling life in the 1970s. Those moments are golden. But when every conversation becomes a journey down memory lane, you leave little space for the present. Thomas used to be the heart of every family dinner. But over time, everything he said began with, "back then." Back then, gas was cheaper. Back then, people had more respect. Back then, things were better. His teenage grandson didn't know how to respond, so he stopped trying. Not because he didn't care, but because they no longer had anything to talk about. Your loved ones want to know what you think about today, how you feel about their new job, what you think of their favorite music, if you've tried that trendy dish they mentioned. The past builds us, but the present connects us. If you've ever felt stuck in old stories or heard nothing but them, comment the number 5 below. Now, let's talk about something we've all said at some point. A habit passed from generation to generation, and one that builds walls instead of bridges. Habit number 6, criticizing younger generations. Young people these days, we've all said it. Maybe their clothes look strange, maybe they speak too fast, or stare at their phones too much. But when every interaction becomes a critique, the younger ones stop listening. Richard wondered why his grandson no longer opened up to him. Then he remembered. Every time the boy spoke, Richard interrupted. "That music's just noise. You walk like you're floating, always glued to that screen." The boy didn't argue. He just grew quiet. Here's the truth. Your parents once said the same about your generation, that your music was too loud, your jeans too tight. It's a cycle, but we can choose to break it. Instead of saying, "What's wrong with kids today?" try, "You're creative, you're strong." One kind word builds connection. One compliment opens the door. If you've ever felt disconnected from the younger generation, comment the number 6. Next, we'll explore a habit that might feel harmless, but slowly erodes trust, especially within families and small communities. Habit number 7. Gossiping and meddling. In small communities or everyday conversations, talking about other people can feel like just sharing. But without realizing it, we may cross into gossip or unwanted interference. Caroline lived with her son and daughter-in-law. She often asked about their finances, their parenting choices, their private matters. She said it came from love, from concern. But her daughter-in-law felt watched, judged. No arguments happened, just silence, a growing distance. And Caroline couldn't understand why the conversation stopped. Advice should be given when it's asked for. Otherwise, choose silence. A well-timed pause speaks volumes. And when it comes to gossip, be careful. Curiosity can quickly turn into mistrust. And once trust is broken, it rarely returns the same. If you agree that knowing when to stay silent is a sign of wisdom, comment the number 7. Now, let's move into a habit that many develop with age. Not from pride, but from fear of being left behind. Habit number 8. Refusing to learn or adapt. Technology, daily life, human connection. Everything is changing. And yes, sometimes it feels like too much. But when you reject anything new, you slowly shut the door on the world around you. Evelyn refused to touch a smartphone. "I've lived all my life without one," she said. But when her grandson sent a birthday video, she couldn't open it. A precious moment. Missed. Not because she wasn't loved, but because she closed the door. No one's asking you to be a tech expert, but a little curiosity goes a long way. A basic computer class, a video call, a birthday text. These things keep you close to the people who matter most. Learning new things keeps your mind alive and your heart open. If you believe learning has no age limit, comment the number 8 below. Next, let's look at a habit that often comes from pain, from feeling forgotten. But it creates even more distance. Habit number 9. Playing the victim. My kids never call. My friends forgot me. No one cares about old people anymore. These thoughts are heavy, and they often come from a place of deep loneliness. But if you live inside the feeling of being abandoned, you may unknowingly push others even further away. Walter used to complain that his children didn't visit. He believed he had no meaning anymore, until a friend asked him, "Have you tried calling them?" And he had no answer. The next day, he did something new. He sent a card, made a simple call. "Just checking in," he said. Slowly, the silence faded. Waiting for others to change can keep you stuck. But taking the first step, even a small one, can change everything. Accepting help doesn't make you weak. Reaching out doesn't make you a burden. It makes you human. If you've ever felt left behind, comment the number 9 to remind yourself you are not alone. Next, we'll talk about a habit tied to money. But the real cost is emotional. Habit number 10. Using money to control emotionally. Money is delicate at any age. When we help our children or grandchildren financially, it can be a beautiful thing. But when that help comes with invisible strings, reminders, guilt, or expectations, love begins to feel like a transaction. Douglas often said, "I paid for your education. You should listen to me." Every gift came with a condition. Over time, his son stopped asking for help. Not out of pride, but because it felt like pressure. not love. True giving asks for nothing in return. If you give, let it come from a full heart. If you can't, it's okay to hold back. Because when affection is tied to money, relationships become strained. If you've ever seen someone use money to control, comment the number 10. Next, we'll talk about a habit that often looks like strength on the outside, but inside it may be closing the door on real connection. Habit number 11, refusing help. We all want to stay independent, especially as we grow older. But if you say, "No, I've got it," to every offer, loved ones may stop offering altogether. Not because they don't care, but because they're afraid of being pushed away. Margaret's granddaughter used to love visiting. She offered to carry groceries, drive to appointments, help with little things. But every time Margaret said, "No need, I'm fine," the girl stopped asking, not from anger, but from uncertainty. Letting someone help doesn't make you weak. It makes space for love. When others care for you, they feel needed, included, connected, a shared task, a ride to the doctor. These aren't just favors. They are acts of closeness. If you've ever turned down help just to prove you're okay, comment the number 11 below. Now, let's talk about something small, but powerful. A smile, a laugh. And what happens when we lose them? Habit number 12. Losing your sense of humor. Aging brings aches, grief, sleepless nights. It's understandable to feel tired, but when laughter disappears from our lives, something tender fades with it. Joanne used to light up family dinners with her jokes. After losing her husband, she grew serious, critical. Her grandchildren tried to make her smile. "That's not funny," she'd say. And over time, they stopped trying. Not because they stopped loving her, but because they no longer knew how to reach her. Humor isn't about making light of pain. It's about letting light in. Even a playful line, "I may be old, but I'm still fabulous," can lift a room. A joke won't cure illness, but it can heal distance. If you believe that laughter keeps us close, comment the number 12 below. And finally, we arrive at one last habit, often born from love. But if we're not careful, it can weigh heavy on those we care about most. Habit number 13, giving unsolicited advice. You've been through a lot. You've learned valuable lessons. And when you see someone struggling, your first instinct is to help. But when advice is given without being asked, it can feel like judgment, not support. Martin thought he was helping. Every time his daughter talked about parenting, he'd jump in. "That's not how you should do it. Let me tell you the right way." She stopped sharing, not because she didn't trust him, but because she didn't feel heard. Sometimes people don't want a solution. They want understanding. A simple, "That sounds tough, I'm proud of you," can mean more than a dozen suggestions. When someone needs advice, they'll ask. Until then, just be there. Be present. If you've ever hurt someone by offering too much too soon, comment the number 13. And now, we've reached the end of this journey. But in truth, the real journey is just beginning. Conclusion: growing older is a gift, but growing older with grace, patience, and gentleness, that takes courage. You don't have to change all 13 habits at once. Start with one, just one. One kind word instead of a complaint. One deep breath before correcting. One call you make instead of waiting for. That single change could reconnect a strained relationship, rebuild trust, or simply bring warmth back into your home. If you saw a piece of yourself in any of these habits, Be kind to yourself. That recognition is not shame. It's awareness. And awareness is the first step toward healing. You are not alone. Many are reflecting. Many are trying. And many want to grow. Share in the comments. Which habit will you start with? Your story might be just what someone else needs to hear. And if this video spoke to you, please subscribe to the channel so we can keep walking this path together, gently, honestly, with care. And above all, please remember, you are not a burden, you are a presence, a living memory, a source of strength. And when you choose to live with kindness in your words and actions, you will always be someone others want near.